Hi, this is Chaz Palminteri, and if you're thinking about getting your eyes done, the only person to see is Dr. Rothman of LASIK of Nevada. I flew all the way from New York to be here, and Dr. Rothman did my eyes. And all I could say is, it's a miracle. I could see. You see Dr. Rothman of LASIK of Nevada.
Broadcasting live from the Vegas Video Network studios, just steps from the Las Vegas Strip.
It's time to get on the right side of sports betting. It's time for the Odds Couple.
Welcome to the Odds Couple on the world-famous Vegas Video Network. My name is Scott Pritchard, joined as always by my good friend and co-host Anthony Padilla.
Thanks, Scott. All right, here we are, heading into the week of the Pro Bowl. I don't know what's going on this week, but today we'll be talking about Scott's favorite nut, the return of Tara, and why you should vote for me.
I can't wait to get started. Let's attack the line. One game takes place this weekend. It's the Pro Bowl, Honolulu, Hawaii, AFC versus the NFC. The game, the side for this contest opened a pick, and because no one cares about this game, there's been no movement. It's been a pick the entire week. Today as we speak, it's a pick.
It's a pick. The Manning brothers, I think, are both playing, so we'll get to see that. And there's no line, so I'm going with, I don't even know, man. I don't even know why we're talking about it. Like, this is how irrelevant this game is, or how irrelevant it's become. This game is nothing like the All-Star game in any other sporting event. You know, because these guys are hitting each other, they might as well throw flags on them. I mean, I feel like that game would be more competitive than what this is going to be. Because even though you know the guys that made the Pro Bowl, then you have guys backing out because they don't want to go. But really all this is one more week for these guys to make that much more money. And it's on the island, which is great that it's in Hawaii for the players. But otherwise, people have got to spend hard-earned money to go watch this game that they're not even really putting any effort into. So I don't care who wins this game.
I've been to this game in the past. It's a lot of fun. The players, again, most of the players do not take this game all that seriously. It's somewhat of an exhibition game. I went to the game about 10, 12 years ago. It was an exciting contest to watch. I bet, actually, because I was at the 50-yard line with my girlfriend at the time. Please don't tell my wife. But I will say it was an enjoyable contest because I bet against the most overrated, overhyped quarterback on the planet at that time, Randall Cunningham, who the first series, the NFC, they were favored to win by 3.5. I bet the AFC plus the points. And opening series, Randall Cunningham threw an INT, run back for a touchdown. So I have a good feeling about the Pro Bowl. If you see a glare, it's because I'm getting this green flashing light. I'm about to have a seizure. The green light, I guess, means that we have a live chat question.
You have a question from your producer. No, I had read that or heard that they may not do the Pro Bowl anymore.
Well, the concern has been, and by the way, when the producer gets here, please let me know. I'm guessing that there has been some speculation. It's actually a very good question, that there has been speculation because players tend to mail this game in. So there has been speculation as to why are we even bothering to have this game. Now, they changed it. It used to be the week after the Super Bowl, and now they play it between the conference championship game and the Super Bowl, which means the best players on the best teams aren't even eligible to play because they are prepping for the Super Bowl. The other concern that we have...
That's stupid, by the way.
I wonder. The other thing is you have so many players that if they have a broken nail will say, listen, I'm not eligible to play, I have an injury. So the players really don't take this game all that seriously. Are you paying attention here?
I got to tell you, man, this game is just, I'm sitting here listening to you talk about this, and I'm just trying to figure out, like, what they can do. Because every other sport, baseball, basketball, you know, hockey, you've got the All-Star games in the middle of the season. And it's a nice break for these guys. If you're not in the game, you know, you get a week and a half off, basically. Your body gets to rest. But again, this, like, where do you put it? It was at the end of the season before. Now it's right before the Super Bowl. So now you're losing any Super Bowl eligible players, which a lot of those guys would get voted in. And now they're not going to be there. So it just, I don't really feel, I hate to say it, but I really think you just have to do away with it altogether because it really is decreasing in value And it's just, it's a painful thing to watch.
What's interesting about the Pro Bowl is even though in the mainland we don't have a lot of interest from a TV perspective standpoint compared to a regular season or a playoff game or with the Super Bowl, in Hawaii it is a big deal. This game sells out each and every year. But maybe we should keep things moving simply because with Attack the Line we try to find disparity in a side or a total. The fact is the side for this game is a pick. It stayed a pick. The total is 83 and a half. So again, no disparity there as well.
You brought up when you went to that game and Randall Cunningham and he throws the interception right away. It's an all-star game. It's much like this past year, Justin Verlander, best pitcher in baseball, arguably, gives up three runs in the first inning of the all-star game. Still ends up pitching in the World Series. So it doesn't matter who you are. It's a game that Peyton Manning, I'm sure, is going to show up and throw a couple of picks.
It does matter. It does matter because in baseball, which one has nothing to do with the other. This is a true exhibition game, the Pro Bowl, AFC, NFC. But in the Major League All-Star Baseball game, we're playing for home field advantage for the World Series. But
again, even though they've added that stipulation to that game, it still doesn't matter because, look, I don't care what they say on camera. The players are not going into the All-Star game taking that pressure on and saying, hey, we're doing this for our league. They're going into it as an exhibition game. Because if that were the case, Justin Verlander wouldn't give up those runs. Maybe
it wasn't like he was holding back. He was actually throwing 97, 98,
yeah, but that has nothing to do with, of course he's going out.
But they were sitting on the first ball fastball.
Sure, but they're not. That's just it. They're still changing their game plan. The players are not approaching the game the same way. They're not mailing it in like the football players will, but they're certainly not trying to. They've got to get back to their next start. Some of those guys are also hurt, but they want to be there because it's the All-Star game. So it's
another flashing light question, live chat question. What do we have?
Well, why do you think why don't they put it at the end of the season again after the Super Bowl so Super Bowl players can go and play? I have no idea why they would not do that again.
I think their thought process at the time, if they were thinking at all, had to do with the fact that they wanted the Super Bowl to be the climax, the granddaddy of the kickoff. You end the season by having the Super Bowl, and then it's over and done. It's kind of like you don't see a comic go out on their best material, and then they come back and say, oh, by the way, one more knock-knock joke.
Thank you, Anthony.
I didn't know you were done there.
I didn't either.
With that's a good question, referring to why would you do that. But I think it's a lose-lose no matter what, or there's no perfect storm scenario because even when it's the week after the Super Bowl, players from the losing team now don't want to play because they're mad that they just lost the Super Bowl, and they don't want to hear about that. So no matter what, you're going to have a group of guys who are just going to not go. I mean, Aaron Rodgers clearly could have gone, chose not to, and it's because he's still a little pouty from getting booted from the playoffs. So I don't think it really matters when it is. There's been an argument for why not have it Super Bowl weekend and have it just be a culmination of things. Have the Pro Bowl the night before the Super Bowl, just like the NBA with their All-Star game. They've got the dunk contest and it's a whole weekend of events. They've talked about maybe putting the Pro Bowl the day before, but then you're taking away from the Super Bowl in a manner of speaking. But are you really? I mean, maybe that wouldn't be a bad idea. Have it in the same stadium, the night before. I mean, people are still focused on the Super Bowl.
This was supposed to be the shortest Attack the Line segment because we have no movement, but yet I think it's been the longest Attack the Line session.
Yeah.
What gives? Maybe we should keep it moving.
Well, you realize we're going to keep it moving to spin to win and talk about this very same game.
I can't wait.
All right, well then, let's do it. Since we have the lovely Tara back, we're going to take our time with this one. We have the AFC and NFC on the wheel. As you all know, every week we spin the wheel. Scott and I are forced to take one team and argue both sides. Clearly, I think you already know how we feel this week, but we're going to do it anyway. Tara, if you would, please.
Scotty's got the Patriots. Oh, I'm sorry, AFC. AFC.
The Patriots are in the AFC, but Tom Brady is not playing in this game. But the AFC might present some value as a pick'em simply because Peyton Manning is playing in this contest, and he's a bit upset. Bad taste in his mouth after 3 turnovers in the divisional round playoff game against the Baltimore Ravens, where again, now Peyton Manning has to hear about how he can't win in cold weather. Last time I checked, it's pretty darn nice in Honolulu. So Peyton Manning is going to start the game for the AFC. You have a talented, upset quarterback with something to prove, possibly. You also have the 2 and 3 quarterbacks that will be playing in this contest for the AFC, no slouches either. Matt Schaub will be playing for the Houston Texans, representing the Texans. And a little bit of a surprise, I'm not a big fan of the rookie Andrew Luck, but he is going to be the third-team quarterback in this contest. So AFC might present some value, namely early. If you're looking at this game, if you can find a sports book that will post a first half line when you have Peyton Manning at the helm, it might present, I'm not saying it does or that it will, but it might present some value.
Let me tell you why the NFC is going to win this game. Because the Cowboys are in the NFC. That's it. There's no other argument that needs to be made. That's really what this game comes down to.
I guess I'm sold.
Well, why wouldn't you be? I mean, and you know what? And let's be honest with this. If people are going to go bet on events, how do you – I mean, I like to dabble and I like to do my things, but this is what you do for a living all day, every day. All kidding aside, what value is there for a professional sports bettor, if any, in a game like this?
A lot of times you will find value because it has to do with, like a preseason football game, for example. Are we going to keep changing cameras? I can tell you, my neck is starting to get sore. As a professional sports bettor, I love preseason football because you'll have first-teamers playing third-teamers. One team is trying to win, another team is trying to sell tickets, one coach is new, he's trying to win the game. But this is a different exhibition game because you have two teams that really, for all intent and purpose, they don't care. And there are no secrets. We're not talking where you have 10 or 12 games to choose from. You spot your picks and pick your spots. It's one game, one time. And again, there's really no disparity. So my professional opinion is I'm respectfully not playing the game.
Well, either way, we're going to talk about it. But it's still a good thing to talk about. And you know what? There are more people than just sports bettors and adults who become bitter. Kids, I think this is still a big game for kids. I think they still enjoy watching it. A lot of little kids don't fully understand that they're not, playing. In fact, I think there's a lot of value in the Pro Bowl for kids because it tends to be such a high-scoring game, and the kids don't know why it is. They just are watching their favorite players, score a lot of points.
Some of the players have actually gone on record as saying that they are going to go all out, namely the NFC. I mean, Adrian Peterson, star running back for the Minnesota Vikings, says he wants to put on a good performance. And the NFC players a little bit more than the AFC. Last year it was interesting in this contest because a lot of players went on record as saying they're not a big fan of Cam Newton, who was a rookie for the Carolina Panthers a year ago. And the AFC, they were blitzing this guy, and word on the street had it. Don't kill the messenger. I'm just sharing the information. Word on the street had it that a lot of the offensive linemen, because they didn't appreciate the attitude that Cam Newton had, they laxed, they kicked back, and allowed him to be sacked.
Well, and that's why he kind of went through what he did this year. So
you wonder. Sophomore jinx would be my point.
I'm curious to see how he comes back next season.
Great.
I think that's going to be big. All right, guys, we're going to sit here and talk about this. We're going to take a break, come back and join us on The Odds Couple right here on the Vegas Video Network.
Oh, hi. I'm Kelly Clinton. That sucked. I wonder if Joan Rivers is watching. Oh, please. Oh, my God. Who cares? I don't have a different one. You know who watches this show? Wayne Newton.
You got that right, Kelly. I think you're absolutely beautiful and talented young lady. 5, 6, 9, 12. Talk a shit.
More camera time for me. Hey, I wonder if Cher's watching.
Oh, please. I have so many other things to do.
Woo! Hi, I'm Kelly Clinton. I'm the host of Talk Tales, and you're watching the Vegas Video Network. That was horrible.
Welcome back to The Odds Couple on the world-famous Vegas Video Network. My name is Scott Pritchard. Great to have you with us. Joined, as always, my good buddy Anthony Padilla. To reach out to us, we would love for you to continue to be a part of the show. You can email us your thoughts, your comments, your questions. oddscouple@vegasvideonetwork.com. That's oddscouple@vegasvideonetwork.com. Also, we have web-based voicemail where you can reach out to us by going to our site. On the right-hand side, click the red bar, and in the middle of the page right there, start recording. We also field live chat questions, as you've already noticed. If you do miss us live, it's okay. You can reach out to us on YouTube, iTunes, Vegas Video Network, Roku. Every Saturday, this show is rebroadcast on KSHP AM 1400 radio right here in Sin City. Now, you don't have to look far to find frustration in the world of sports, namely in sports betting. Are you kidding me?
All right, we've been talking about this for 15 minutes now, but it's not enough. We are going to talk about the Pro Bowl, or the not-so Pro Bowl, if you will. And I say that because you've got all of these elite athletes that are going. And once again, I don't care what Adrian Peterson says about going all out. I mean, that's fantastic that you say that, but I mean, let's be honest. If you're Adrian Peterson's agent, knowing that this dude blew out his knee last year and had to go through what he did to come back this year, I would in fact be telling him not to go all out, because what if by going all out you get hurt in this all-star game showcase and then you miss the next year, or you're out for your career? I mean, stranger things have happened. So look, we talked a couple of weeks ago about all of the college bowls, the Idaho Potato Bowl, the Mixing Bowl, whatever. We've got all those different college bowls, and I said how it was a disparity, and it was damaging to college sports, because you're teaching these guys that life just offers you winning situations when sometimes you just lose, and that doesn't mean you get to move on and play, in a bowl in real life. But look, I will take any of those college bowls, the worst college bowl I will take over the NFL Pro Bowl, because at least in those bowls you do have players who are going all out the entire time, and they're even in that game, they're NFL hopefuls, or they're trying to do something to put themselves in a position to be looked at by somebody beyond college. Again, in this game, you've got guys. In fact, I think we have a picture of the stadium, what it's going to look like. And that is not Lene Kakua's family that's at the game. That is actually what the stadium is going to look like. So you say that it's a big deal in Hawaii, but the stadium is lessening year by year in terms of the attendance number. In fact, macadamia nuts, I think, are my favorite thing about the Pro Bowl. That would be my favorite thing about going over and having some of those. Otherwise, look, I enjoy the fact that you've got all these big names, but other than that, it really doesn't matter, and we can beat this horse to death. But at the end of the day, it's just an overhyped all-star game that it just needs to go away. Are you kidding? Let's just stop with this.
Mr. Whitney, we have another live chat question.
We do. Blake wants to know, hey, Scott, how did you end up hedging the New England game? Did you let it ride? I hope not.
Yes, I hope not, too. Blake, I appreciate the question, and thanks for the reminder. Just when I was starting to move on from that debacle, you happened to bring it up. And it's one of those things where if you go to a bad movie, would you go back and see the same bad movie? I'm going to go ahead and replay this. The question is, most of you have been following the show week in, week out. August, I had a big fat future on the New England Patriots to win the AFC Conference Championship at plus 5-1, only to see them beat themselves. Last week, 3 turnovers, Tom Brady uncharacteristically not playing up to par. I give the Baltimore Ravens a lot of credit for winning that contest. The question is, what did I hedge? What did I do? Did I do anything? I had a couple of options, and the reason you make a future bet, my friends, is to give yourself options come the moment of truth. Well, last Sunday was the moment of truth. So you have plus 5-1 on the Patriots. On the money line, they are minus 4-1. You could get plus 320, 330 on the money line with the Baltimore Ravens. So do you hedge your initial investment and take the Ravens on the money line, or do you take the Ravens plus 8.5, 9.5 points? What I ended up doing was just getting my initial investment back. So I took plus 3-1, or just over plus 3-1 on the money line on the Ravens. But again, obviously, I still had options at halftime. Patriots up 10-7 late in the second quarter. Brady uncharacteristically mismanaged the clock. They only ended up kicking a field goal to go up 13-7 as opposed to 17-7. But the halftime line, Patriots up 6 at half, even though Baltimore would get the second half kickoff. The Patriots were 3 to 3.5 point favorites for the second half. So I had an option there to where I still could come back in middle, Baltimore plus 9, 9.5 for the second half of the contest. I chose not to because I really felt the Patriots, the better team, would win the contest. But that's why they call it gambling. That's why I'm still upset. It's going to take me a while. I've been married and divorced twice, and I got over that pretty quickly. But this one hurts because it really hit me in the pocketbook. And maybe I'm guilty of being emotionally attached to a number, not the team, because I get on and off teams week to week, but this was a season-long commitment. unlike my good buddy Anthony, who is emotionally attached, in love with his Dallas Cowboys and Tim Tebow, because he talks about them on a week-to-week basis. But it's time now for my segment of Are You Kidding Me? Perfect segue, tie-in. The Baltimore Ravens are going to the Super Bowl. Are you kidding me? We're talking about a team that was the 4th seed in the AFC. I'm a proud professional sports bettor, first to admit when I make a mistake, having done this for the past 30 years, and oftentimes I pride myself in seeing things before they happen. I did not, could not, will not, still can't accept the fact this team is going to the Super Bowl. In fact, I'm thinking about all the money I didn't win on the Patriots. I'm thinking about taking that money and betting against this team. Are you kidding me? The San Francisco 49ers are a good team. I've gone on record as saying they probably, even during the course of the season, probably the best team in the NFC. But having said that, I wasn't sure that they would get to the Super Bowl because they would have to beat a very good Packer team and then win on the road against Atlanta. But let's stay focused. Let's continue to talk about the Baltimore Ravens, a team that lost 4 of their last 5 regular season games. In the playoffs, they beat a very pedestrian Colts team. And then you look at the fact that they won on a fluke miracle pass play, 70 yards with 35 seconds to go in the game against the Denver Broncos. Then they went into New England. I give them credit for being in the game to put themselves in a position to win. But the fact is, when it comes to handicapping pro football, it's one statistic more than anything else. And the talking heads at ESPN or Fox Sports, no one will tell you this except Anthony. Well, no, just basically me. I'm the only one that will tell you this. If you can forecast, it's tough to forecast injuries and turnovers, but if you can forecast which team is going to turn the ball over, you'll win. The Patriots lost to the San Francisco 49ers because they had 4 turnovers. They lost to the Baltimore Ravens because Baltimore did not turn it over, did not beat themselves. Joe Flacco is going to the Super Bowl. Are you kidding me? All right, let's keep it moving. Unless, Anthony, something tells me you've got to get something off your chest.
No, I enjoyed the games last weekend. They were fun to watch.
Well,
you don't watch them, but they were fun to watch.
Actually, this time of year I do because it's, believe me, based on the money that I did not win with the Patriots, you'd watch the game too. But your point's well taken, because usually you can't expect me to tie up all my time and energy finding numbers, figuring out odds, numbers, laws of probability, and then, oh, by the way, I've made my bet, I'm getting the best of it, and now you're asking me to tie up 3.5 hours to watch the game too? I'll leave that to the sports fans like yourself.
I enjoy it. And last weekend was a great weekend of football. And, man, Colin Kaepernick is the real deal. And, you know, it's funny because I said it all year with the Falcons and the Texans, you know, and it's a good point with you and the Ravens. It doesn't really matter what your record is, because there are so many more intangibles. It's about turning it on at the right time. Sometimes, I mean, whether you agree with it or not, you got to believe there's that little bit of heart and fight in the Ravens that's getting them to where they're at now. You know, being it's Ray Lewis's last season, and it's amazing what you can do. You know, and that's how little fluke plays at the end of a game happen. It is the work and the preparation, you know, and they say, you know, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And sometimes it just comes at the right time.
Again, no disrespect to the Baltimore Ravens. I do appreciate the fact that they have overcome a lot of adversity and they are in the Super Bowl. Congratulations. Good for them. But you mentioned Ray Lewis. I have a strong opinion here. We're talking about can we stop? Please stop making it about Ray Lewis. He's a grown-ass man who is crying on national TV on a weekly basis. Look at me, look at me. It's like, this guy, can we move on? It's about the running of Ray Rice. It's about the emergence of Joe Flacco and Suggs and Reed and these studs on defense. How about following the lead of Tony Gonzalez, the star tight end for the Atlanta Falcons, who played his last game for the Falcons? He went out with class and dignity without a dance.
I would agree with you on some level, except when I think back to when players like John Elway was on his way out, and it was all about him. You know, and when they did win the Super Bowl, it was all about how he finally got the ring. Yes, he didn't have the dance and whatnot, but everything was still centered and focused on him. You know, there's been some other greats that on their way out. In baseball, when these guys announce that they've got their farewell tour, you know, so the last time they go into a stadium, and that's the last time they're going to play there, and it's televised and all of this. So it's not just Ray Lewis. It's just that that's the social medium that we've come to now, where it seems like it's more about him. But what's it about, Scott? It's about TV, and it's about numbers. And they're trying to draw more than just the football fans. So that is playing on the hearts of people. But he's on his way out. And next year, guess what? No more dances. You don't have to worry about it.
Well, I would like to say that was the case, but we all know he's been hired by ESPN. He's going to be a commentator. Please, I don't want to see that.
You think he's going to do the dance when he comes out each show?
I wonder. Okay, we have to listen to a very inspirational speech. I respect Ray Lewis as a player. As a person, not so much. Call me crazy.
I would be the first, I'm sure, there. We're having a good time.
Yes, we are.
I think we're still going to pick these games, though, today, right?
Yes. In fact, maybe before we get to putting money into your pocket, I know you touched on Manti Te'o because we just haven't heard enough about this. You wanted to expand on what you heard or saw this week?
Well, yesterday was actually, the reason it's still in the news and the reason for us to still talk about it is because he sat down with Katie Couric and that interview aired yesterday. Did you see it? Did you get a chance to see it?
I did not. Okay. I don't watch much
care,
TV.
Of course.
Right.
Let me tell you, and you know what? Whether you saw it or not, you probably know just as much as you did last week when we talked about it.
Which was nothing.
Right,
basically.
and there was nothing really revealing about this. At the end of the day, look, a kid went online, he got duped, and that's kind of what happened. This blew up into a national story simply because of who he is, and it's just another discredit to the media of really trying to make a story out of nothing. It's not going to affect his status in the NFL, you know. The poor kid, I cannot imagine the embarrassment, you know, that he's going to be facing now. Because NFL guys, those are some big boys. I mean, you know, some things are said on that football field during games that the cameras and the mics don't pick up. I can only imagine what this guy's going to have to hear for the next 12 years in the league. But look, it was a horrible situation that happened. You know, unfortunate. Hopefully, it's a lesson for everybody that goes online.
Hoax or no hoax, and when I think about Manti Te'o and his fake dead girlfriend, the only thing, remember, we talked about it last week, the Huffington Post called me to get my intake on this as I was live on their TV show about 10 days ago. So I did do some limited research on the story. Bottom line is, unless there's something to bet into with a side total money line, I don't really have much interest. I will say, in regards to his fake dead girlfriend, I'm glad that Manti Te'o's fake dead girlfriend is not around to see this.
Well, technically she is, because the girl whose picture they used is still alive. So
is that right?
Yeah.
I think you're trying to start another hoax.
Maybe we should put some odds on who dates next. Can we do that?
Maybe. Yeah, I'll get back to you on that.
All right.
This is the part of the show where Anthony and I together put money into your pocket as we together will put you on the right side.
All right, well, because we haven't really touched on it yet today, the right side for both of us is the AFC versus the NFC. The game is being played in Honolulu. Who cares about the line? Before we touch on that, I do want to go back to last week and recap. I wanted to go with the San Francisco game, but I went ahead and went with the Ravens game. I went with the points. I won the game again. Man, I'm on fire.
You're in a zone.
And I felt bad because that was really hard because I knew that I was winning for the sake of the show, which is my main focus.
Only focus.
But you were losing that big, big bet. And I texted you, and I got to tell you, Scott, it took me 10 minutes to get that wording right in that text because I wanted to be happy that I won that game and you had won the earlier game. But it was really hard knowing the amount of money that that the Patriots cost you. Your beloved Patriots, who you fight for every week, really cost you.
Well, after you had, as I was tracking the game, and only to have my good friend Anthony text me, sorry about the Pats, after I picked up my phone from throwing it against the wall, and I texted you back, it's like, hey, that's why they call it gambling. You can do everything right. I had 5-1, number never existed, even when they started out 1-2 and 3-3. All you can do is put yourself in a favorable position and then decide which options you want to take, whether it's plus money on the Ravens or plus the points on the Ravens to balance the scale. I chose to roll with it and I was a free shot because I ended up getting more than plus 3-1 on the Ravens. But again, a lot of drama, a lot of heartache over just to break even. after getting plus 5-1 on the Patriots. But hey, man, you've had a great season. Anthony, ATS against the spread started out very slow. I don't have a whole lot of respect for sports fans who pick against the number, but this character right here, not to be confused with caricature, he has had a very good season. ATS, Baltimore plus the points. How's it feel?
Feels good, man. And let's put it out there. I started 0-3. When I started out, I was like, man, I cannot buy a win. Like, because 2 of those 3, went the other way in the last couple minutes, and you really start second-guessing stuff. But much like you would do, you've got to keep going with what you do, because at some point it turns itself around, and it ended up being a good year. It was a great year for both of us, really. And that being said, going into this week's pick for the Pro Bowl, look, we've already gone over this. AFC, who cares? NFC, who cares? I'm going with the NFC. That's my right side because, like I said earlier, the Dallas Cowboys are in the NFC, and that's as good of a reason as any if you're going to be silly enough to put money on this game.
Before we get to my right side, I would like to recap what I liked last week on the show. On Friday when we broadcast live, the line was 4, Atlanta plus the 4. Most of you who know me know that I had the Falcons plus the 4.5 on Tuesday and Wednesday last week. There is a big difference, my friends, between 4, 4.5. Fine line between winning and tying, losing and winning. So always try to get the best of it. So this week, let's take a look at the AFC versus the NFC. I can see where the NFC players have gone on record as saying they're going to go for it. They're trying to win this game based on the quarterback rotation with Drew Brees, Eli Manning, and Russell Wilson. I love all 3 quarterbacks. Adrian Peterson appears to be on a mission and wants to win this game. The AFC, they've gone on record as saying they are going to try, unlike what teams have done and or at least said in the past in regards to this game. Professional sports betting standpoint, whether you look at the side, pick, or the total, 83.5. I have no opinion on this game. I'm not going to play this game. But something tells me there is no way even I can find a way to lose this week.
Well, I wouldn't bet on that.
It's still early. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of The Odds Couple on the world-famous Vegas Video Network. But Anthony, I've been dying to know, what are you doing this weekend?
Voting.
Are you?
For myself.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, it is that time of year with the Las Vegas Review-Journal's Best Of competition. This is one of the most prestigious awards, if not the most prestigious award a Vegas entertainer or show can win. And I am fortunate enough to only not be winning one of the categories in first place, but I'm in third in one of the other categories. So please go on and vote. Just go to www.bestoflasvegas.com/vote. You're going to go down to the bottom of the screen. On the lower right-hand corner, you're going to click on the fill-in ballot online. It'll take 2 seconds after that to register. You will have to use an email address just for tracking purposes. You go in, Best Comedian, Anthony Padilla. Best Show, Comedy After Dark starring Anthony Padilla. Best Male Review, Anthony Padilla. Whatever you need to vote for me. And Scott, I think Scott should get a vote for something as well. So go on there, please. Every vote counts. I know everybody says that, but every vote truly does count. And why shouldn't we win? At Best Show. You know what? Go on and vote Best Show, The Odds Couple.
I have to say that I'll be glad when the voting is over with because I voted for Anthony Padilla, Comedy After Dark, best comedy show in Las Vegas. I'll just be glad when the voting stops, so you will stop harassing me to vote.
I will also be glad when the voting is over. But thank you for voting.
No problem. This weekend, I'm actually doing stand-up comedy. For those of you who will be in Las Vegas, I'm on the Strip, Bally's Hotel Casino. The show goes at 9:30. It's LA Comedy Club. And also, my plays are posted daily on VegasInsider.com. We have close to 1 million views a day. My site also, Pritchard'sPicks.com. Check it out. For my good buddy Anthony Padilla, my name is Scott Pritchard. Good luck and goodbye.